Welcome to day 3 of the fulfillment formula. And we're going to continue on your journey to achieve with ease. Specifically, we're talking about how you can feel fulfilled while getting results with some mindset and energy principles that hopefully inspire you and show you how to not only feel inspired, but to create structure that fuels your next steps and helps you to flow through your day. Now, yesterday, we delved into the root cause of what holds you back and the importance of recognizing the season of life you're in, as well as how if you can align with it, then you can lead in a more intentional and joyful way. So, as you know, letting go of what no longer serves you just helps to make room for growth. So that's why it was really important to talk about that yesterday. And I also want to emphasize the importance of knowing your season of life because it acknowledges that our goals and our strategies should evolve as we do. It doesn't make sense to always be that hardworking, high-achieving, go, go, go person. We have to modulate that based on what season of life we're in. And finally, this tool can just really help you thrive in the present moment because you are aligning your actions with the current needs and desires for that authentic fulfillment. So basically what I just said of when you know it, you know your strategies need to evolve and you're really in alignment and living in the present moment, which I know often we hear about how can I be more in the present moment? We know it's helpful. That tool can help you be more present. Now, today, we'll create a vision for moving forward by connecting with your highest self. That version of you that feels really aligned, empowered, and knows that they can be fulfilled. So with that said, why does this matter? Well, as you move along your journey to knowing and accepting yourself, so this is a map I showed a couple days ago. I meant to show it yesterday, but I forgot to share the screen. But as you're moving along, it's important to know and accept your whole self. So again, yesterday we were able to see that side of yourself that holds you back. And with awareness of that side, you can mitigate the power of it over you. And again, today, what we'll do is connect with that side of you that can inspire you, or I like to think how it pulls you forward. And that's what I call your highest self. And when you're connecting with this side of you, it's important because it helps you shift your focus from what you don't want, right? Our mindset could often take us to what we don't want. And this could help move you towards what you truly desire. And if we're being honest, you might be more familiar with that side of you that holds you back because it shows up more often, especially if we're not conscious about it. So it's going to take some time to get to know your highest self and also to accept and honor this side of yourself. So be patient. With that, I'll just go over quickly what we'll cover specifically today. We're going to do a powerful visualization, again, to connect with your highest self. Then we'll align you with this future, this vision that's waiting for you. So when we connect with our highest self, we also have access to what's possible. It's like we're freeing you from limitations and we're unleashing, I like to think of unleashing your truth. That sounds so exciting to me. And therefore, it gets you closer to your potential. And finally, we'll just tap into some of those deeper aspirations that sometimes we might stuff down or not even take time to be open to. And it's not just about your future. What we're really changing with this visualization is your present. You have a renewed sense of clarity, and we're going to continue to set that foundation for what I like to call heart-driven success, with a lot more inspiration, hopefully. So with that, as we talk about moving forward, I know that we're uncovering a lot in these last few days. If you've been able to listen to the recordings, if you've been able to join live, it might be bringing a lot of stuff to the light, right? That could be healed. And I know that that sometimes can feel a little triggering. So just want to acknowledge that, notice that. It's okay. And although we know that some things we've been thinking or doing haven't been serving us, we don't have to judge it. It's not good or bad. It just is. So just want to remind you of that. And from this place of letting go of some of that, just consider for a moment, if you could take all the exercises we've been doing, what you've been learning up until now, and if you could have it all your way and you could just wave that magic wand, I want to talk about how you'd like it to be. And I want to remind you, it really is possible. In fact, we have a choice about how we move forward in life. You really do get to decide. You're in charge. And that could be such a liberating feeling. You just showing up today is a sign of that. So let's go back to talking about how our mind operates, because I know we're talking about heart-driven success, which is really important. But since we know our mind will constantly be working and providing us thoughts which lead to certain emotions, right? That's how our mind works. That's good to know. You, again, get to decide what you want to focus on. And with awareness that our mind is always working, I say let's use that for good and not evil. Let's have it support us on our journey. So with awareness of how you operate and knowing you have the power of choice, you can start to show up in a more intentional way in your life. And you get to focus more on what you want and the possibilities. Now, this is where your mind can support you in this journey, because the better we can become at focusing our minds on what we desire or what we love or what feels good and we want more of, the more likely we'll stay motivated and the happier we'll be. And you'll be more inspired to take charge of your life. So see, let's use our mind to consciously choose what we focus on. And research even shows that when we're motivated and happier, we'll act in a way that's more likely to attract the desired life results we have. And there's science to support this and theory behind it, but we don't have time to cover that today. I will just say, when I think about this anecdotally, right, I love the way I act when I'm in a good mood, right? When I'm feeling happy and good, I love it. I love how I show up. I love the results. So yes, science to support it, but we know that when we're feeling good and happy, our behavior usually gets to more positive results. So you know this for yourself as well. So let's move on to today's exercise. Again, it's going to help us tap into our desires, stay even further motivated, hopefully on a daily basis, and ensure we're creating the kind of results we're not only excited about pursuing, right, going after, but that will be deeply fulfilled by the outcome of them. So this isn't just your ego telling you you should do something. What we'll uncover is what you really deeply desire. And notice when we're going through this, we're not looking outside of ourselves, because the power comes from within. Okay? So a better way to understand your true desires and get further motivated is to get in the mindset of your best self, or what I said earlier, what I call your highest self. I will use these terms interchangeably, but I am leaning more towards this highest self because there's a lot of pressure on being your best self, even though that is what shows up at times. I just want to acknowledge that for you. So we're going to do this exercise that many of my clients love. It's a guided visualization. It's sort of like a meditation, and it helps you, again, to consider what's possible for your life. It'll take you on a journey to think about what could be and where you can go and who you can be. It's going to give you an idea for a vision for your life, but it also helps you with your present life. And ultimately, I feel like it shows you how you still have time to make what you desire really happen. So before we begin, I do want to make sure you can get comfortable. And you can turn off your camera if you want. You can lay down, but sometimes people fall asleep. So I would sit up for this just to make sure you come back, because we do have more after the visualization. But definitely get comfortable. And then we can turn our cameras on afterwards. Please note that I will be asking some questions during the visualization, and you can just trust that you'll remember the answers. Just answer them to yourself. Hopefully you'll just relax a bit more and be more open to explore your path and your truth. All right, so let's get ready. Oh, and I think I mentioned this, but again, have some paper and pen or your computer nearby afterwards to jot down any notes. I'll give you a couple more minutes just to get comfortable. So just now allow your eyes to close and begin by focusing your awareness on your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in easily and effortlessly, then breathing out. Each breath allows you to become more relaxed and comfortable. Let any outside sounds only serve to allow you to go deeper inside. A reminder of how good it is to leave the noise and stress of the outside world and journey into the quiet and peace of your own inner world. As you sink deeper down into quiet and ease, maybe you can imagine a grounding cord dropping down from the back of your spine. And imagine it going down to the center of the earth, deep into the earth. And imagine there's something that you can anchor the cord to, so that no matter where you go on your inner journey, you feel solidly connected to the earth. As you allow yourself to go deeper into a state of relaxation, remember a time when you stood before a pond or a lake and it was quiet and peaceful. You may have dropped a pebble into the center and noticed the ripples rippling out. One ripple after another, flowing outward farther and farther. The ripples slowing down, becoming farther apart, until the water was once again calm and peaceful. I'm going to invite you now to imagine that your body is like that body of water. And as you drop a pebble into the center of your body, you can feel ripples of relaxation rippling out. Waves of relaxation flowing through your body, up through your torso, into your chest and your back, up through the vertebrae, and spreading out into each and every muscle of your back. Through your shoulders and your arms, up through your neck, your jaw, your face, and your scalp. Feeling those ripples relax as your muscles let go and become soft and loose. Feeling the ripples of relaxation flowing down the bottom of your torso, through your abdomen and your pelvis, down through your thighs, calves, ankles, and toes. And know that each time you drop a pebble into the center of your body, you can become more relaxed. As you become more relaxed, you find yourself becoming more quiet and peaceful. Now bring your attention to the spot between your eyes, the third eye, and imagine a light there. What color is the light between your eyes? Now imagine that light becoming a beam that extends out into space. And follow that beam as it leaves your building and it travels about your city as it continues out so that you can make out the entire area and then the coastline. Keep on going further and further out into outer space and notice the curvature of the earth. As you keep going further and further out, find yourself enveloped by the softness and the quiet of space. And notice below you the big blue-green ball with the white clouds wisping around it. Allow yourself to enjoy this perspective for a moment. Now notice another beam of light, very near to you, a different color from the one that you followed into outer space. And begin to follow that beam back down to Earth. The beam is taking you back to Earth 20 years from now, 20 years into the future. And keep following this beam down, noticing the curvature of the Earth and the geography stretched out below you. As you come closer to the end of the beam, keep noticing where you are. This is where your most positive future self lives. This is you 20 years from now. Just come into contact with the earth and notice where you are. Notice what dwelling or nature surrounds you. Now move to the dwelling of your future self. What does it look like? What kind of landscape does it have? Are there trees and flowers? If so, what kind? Just get a sense of this place. Now, do what you need to get someone to come to the door. And know that on the other side of the door is your future self, waiting to greet you. This is yourself 20 years from now. As the door opens, what do you notice? Greet your future self and notice the way your future self returns your greeting, welcoming you into this time and place 20 years in the future. Just really take in this person. And then move with your future self to a comfortable place for conversation. Perhaps your future self offers you something to drink or eat. Just really settle in and make yourself comfortable for a conversation. Now, there's some questions that you might want to ask your future self. Begin by asking the following two questions. What is it, future self, that you most remember about the last 20 years? So in the last 20 years, what stands out most in your memory? Just take a moment now to hear the answer. Now ask your future self the following question. What do I need to be most aware of to get me from where I am now to where you are? What would be most helpful for me to know to get to where you are? And listen to what your future self has to tell you. Now take a moment and ask your future self your own questions. So what are other questions that you'd like to ask your future self? And now ask your future self one final question before you go. What name, other than your first name, are you called by? Is there a special name? Could be a metaphor or a symbol of your essence. What is this name? Okay. Now bring this visit with your future self to a close. And thank him or her for being here with you today and sharing their wisdom. Now find your way back to the beam of light and journey back up the beam. Watching this world 20 years into the future grow smaller as you move out into space. Seeing again the ball of blue-green below you with clouds swirling around it. And notice that your beam of light is intersected with a different beam of light that will take you back to 2024 in your current location. Just follow this beam of light back to present time Earth. And as you travel down this beam, just notice the Earth growing bigger and bigger. Notice the geography of your city and the area near where your building is. So you're coming back to your current location. And in a few moments, I'm going to count from 3 to 1. At the count of 1, you'll be refreshed and alert, as if you've had the perfect amount of rest, knowing you can remember everything you wish of this inner journey. When you open your eyes, please remain silent and jot down things you want to remember about your journey. Three, you're coming back to present time, becoming more alert and refreshed. 2, you're stretching your body and feeling the ground beneath you. And 1, your eyes are open, you're refreshed and alert. So now when you're ready, just take a few moments to jot down your notes. You have the place sheet, or you could just do this in your journal. And just feel free to write down what comes to mind. Don't censor yourself. If you need a reminder of the questions, it's basically, what was your essence? So think about when you first see yourself open the door in your interaction. Did you hear a name or a metaphor to capture the nature of your future self? If you've done this meditation before, the name could change, or if it stays the same, it could be a nice reinforcement. What memory stands out over the last 20 years? Maybe there's a new memory that's standing out for you. What advice did your future self tell you to get from where you are now to where you want to be? And even if this future self is like older, much older, it could be so amazing to say, look back, look at what we've accomplished, what's coming up for you, and what matters to you. And then, of course, are there any other questions you asked yourself? If so, just jot down those answers, and I'll be silent for a minute as you write those notes. So as you're jotting those notes down, I'll just share a little bit about my future self. Her name is Sunny. And when I first saw her, she exuded an energy and a warmth. It felt like the best imagery that captured that was the essence was the sun for me. And it took a little time to get that name. So tonight or after the event, you can take some time to brainstorm some options, maybe with a friend or a partner. If anyone wants to share theirs now, that could be fun too. When you're ready, if you want to come back on camera or just share anything in the chat. Anyone want to share their future self? Anyone have questions about it, especially if you've done this before? Are you noticing anything new or a reinforcement?
So I'll share. Obviously I was crying. This is like my favorite meditation that Rosie always does. It's my favorite. And it gives me like so much hope. Cause like it gives me a way of just kind of being hopeful for the present and then also kind of supported by myself. And sometimes I don't support myself as good as my friends do or my spouse does. And it's nice to see a version of me that does do that. Um, so yeah, that was it hit me hard today. It was good though.
Thank you for sharing, Shalvana. And it's a perfect example of what we're going to talk about, which is it takes time to get to know this side of ourselves because we're really familiar with that side of ourselves that tells us what's wrong or what we're not doing as well. But we don't take as much time to connect with our highest self. And I'm grateful because I know some of you have heard this before, like you said, or I know people who are going to be listening to the recording have heard this before. And whether it's your first time or you've done it before, I think it always can bring up either some new information or a closer connection to it. And that's the key. We just want to keep you more closely connected and remind you of this side of yourself. So thank you again for sharing. What you hit on too, that I started to say earlier, but what I think is so important is it's not just about tapping into your future, which is exciting and can support you, but it's who you can be today, right? Who you can be at your best. And to your point, Shavana, to support yourself. This is a version of you that does love you and knows you're amazing. And it can help you keep attracting more of what you love in your life. And I know that after I could more clearly see myself at my best, I knew this warm, loving woman could show up more often in all areas of my life. Even in my competitive advertising job, back in the day when I first did this meditation, I was so excited. I got connected. I named Sunny. It took me, like I said, a little while to get there. And then I thought, this is going to be amazing. I will use this with all my coaching clients. Then it hit me. I'm like, I could also use it at my advertising job. It was funny how I was compartmentalizing it for certain situations. And I thought, wait, well, of course I would use this in all areas of my life with the people I care most about. And if you are at all struggling with coming up with the name, like I said, brainstorm with friends. We can brainstorm at the end of this if you'd like. There'll be some more time to share. And the way I came to it is I knew that I wanted to represent energy and warmth. And I thought, gosh, I love the sunshine, but that didn't feel right. And I ultimately went with Sunny. And I had remembered at that point that my nephews had nicknamed me that years earlier, but I had forgotten for a while. So I love that idea too. Like maybe there's a nickname you already have that might represent you. Or again, it could be something new and different. So Shavana, you're getting some support in the chat as well. It's nice when we support ourselves, right? Then we get more support. All right, so let's move on to unleashing your truth. Again, notice the power comes from within. And being aware of all aspects of yourself is very important. Your truth includes both that side that holds you back, like I said earlier, and this side that inspires you and comes from a place of love. And when I work with my clients, we get even more connected to both of these aspects and help you learn how to better understand which side shows up, meaning when your highest self is showing up versus what holds you back. And back in the day, I didn't realize that sometimes that could be confusing, right? You think, oh my gosh, how would I know? You clearly know the difference. One feels really good, one doesn't. But sometimes, that self-doubt, it really is trying to protect you and it feels like it's in service of your highest good. And it might be, but again, if we had more time, we could delve into that. It's really important to start noticing the distinction about how you talk to yourself and what's serving you and what's not. What I hope you can see and take away is that this future self, again, it's who you are today. The qualities you saw in that meditation are part of you now. It's your truth. It's when you're at your best and you can be this person right now. You really want to align your actions with the person you want to become, or this version, who again is already within you. This can give you some information about where you want to put your energy. As you know, I talk about energy management a lot. Okay, I want to be more warm, energetic, whatever came up for you. And you can use this image as an energy source to tap into for motivation, guidance, and direction. I know I could think of the advice that my highest self shared with me and put it into play whenever I have a challenge coming up or when I'm struggling with what to do next. And I like to think of that memory, if you had a memory that stood out, as it signals to you what's truly important to you right now. Because our brain's fascinating. The fact that it can go and figure out, like, hey, this is what's mattering to her right now. We should focus on that. That's important. So, can you picture this person that you just saw showing up in the most important moments in your life? From maybe an interview to an important meeting, to a conversation with your partner, conversation with your children. I just hope you can see how this can open up so many possibilities for your life. So ultimately, as you think about what you imagine for yourself, your current self, your future self, I just want you to set an intention to have your real best self show up more often than that side that doubts you. That's all we want. Just take time to connect with your real self, your real essence, I like to think of it. If you could every day, find a way to do that. We'll talk about some ideas on how to do that. But let this side of you lead your life. And the idea with this intention is to strive for progress, not perfection. This isn't some tool to make you think, oh my gosh, I'm not being good enough if I'm not exactly like this person that I just envisioned. Just be your best self as often as possible. Now, some inspiration for your success. So in the last few days, you've gotten more clear on your priorities, who you want to be in the future, who you are really right now at your best, and how all of this can help you experience the results you desire, right? It can help you feel into and experience what you really want. So it's really important to keep this vision of who you are at your essence alive to inspire you. And eventually, when you're ready with this highest self and who you want to be in mind, you can revisit any of your goals or desired outcomes that you've come up with in the last couple days. Go back to those and determine how you'd like to move forward from this place of inspired possibilities. But for now, you can just take some time to let this side of you land and sink in. Like I said, I think it takes some time. Even if we've done it before, it takes time to connect. So what I hope you can do is take all of this information you've uncovered and use it to clearly see and accept different aspects of yourself. And if you're filling out the handout, you can have this information in one area, have it easily accessible. Maybe you keep it near your desk or wherever you happen to be. And hopefully what it can do is help you to remember to focus on what you want to experience, because your mind is then primed for it. What you'll see or find and ultimately experience, right? So a lot of times we think about, I don't want this, I don't want that. So then your mind is focused on those things. When you think of your future self, your best self, your highest self, when I think of Sunny, I'm more focused on what I want, and it primes your mind to look for it. So I'm hope you're starting to see how you can really be your best with much more ease to attract what you desire, right? I don't want this to be a hard thing. And remember, it is a practice. It takes time. It's a process. And when you're focusing on who you're being, not just what you're doing, right? Who you're being, the qualities that show up, it'll inspire actions that are aligned with your truth and your essence, not ones based out of fear or your ego. So with that, again, if you want, you can declare in the chat your name, or we'll have time in a couple minutes. We'll be done soon. Oh, Mike, do you have anything to share?
Yeah, could you repeat that? You said something about not out of your fear and ego. What did you? I missed that.
Yeah, no, great point. Basically, when we're coming from our highest self, we're more likely to come from a place of love and qualities that support us. versus what can happen when we're not connected to our highest self is we're coming from a place of fear, ego, which leads to that feeling of doubt.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Sure. So I wanted to share some ways you could get to know this side of yourself better. Some next steps you can take on your own after today. You can journal on the following questions. What parts of you now represent your future self? So in other words, identify qualities within you now that already represent this side of yourself. And this can go beyond the qualities you imagine during your visualization, right? Just think of any other ones that you recognize. Another one you can journal on is how can your best or your highest self show up more than that side of you that holds you back? The more you journal and reflect, the more these ideas get anchored in your mind. So that's why I'm asking these questions. If you'd like some structures to support you, you can just set up some rituals where you meditate to ground yourself for the day. You could connect with your highest self every morning with a simple hello, maybe an affirmation to set the tone for your day. I found that to be really helpful. It just gets your mind away from the sabotaging thoughts. But if your sabotaging thoughts come up, because we're normal and they will, you can take a physical action, maybe a deep breath or something to somatically in your body shift into being your highest self. If you're a more visual person, you can create a collage to capture the essence of you at your best. That's always a fun way to do that. I do that with my clients, and we dive into different ways, going back to your wheel of life, just basically, or tomorrow's exercise can support you in this journey if you want to wait till tomorrow to do that. And finally, when you feel some doubt or sabotaging thoughts, ask yourself, how would your best self handle it? Whenever I do that, I immediately relax into her being and her warmth, and I feel so much better. I'm also going to share an idea where you can create a memento to represent your best self. So some of you may have seen this, but I decided to get a sun pendant to represent my highest self. And it could be anything. It could be a perfume. It could be a photo of you. It doesn't have to be something you go and get. It could be something you have. So hopefully some of those ideas resonate with you. And I just hope you can see you have another tool now in your toolbox to support you with feeling that aligned success. Like we talked about earlier this week, when you align and connect with who you really are, in this case, your highest self, your truth, you'll exude that unstoppable energy that is magnetic to opportunities, and it inspires people around you. You'll feel more confident, more radiant, and you end up connecting with people from, again, this place of love and loving yourself, not from that place of fear, or I should say neurotic ego. And that ultimately impacts your whole world, right? You're applying everything you've learned to moving forward in your life. So let this be a reminder that aligned success isn't about following someone else's path, like we started off a couple of days ago. It's about embracing your authentic self, the person you're getting to know during these trainings, and enjoying every step of the way. And as we're wrapping up, I thought it'd be fun to share a quick example of someone who's been doing this. She was an empty nester and she was looking for a new career. And she was this busy stay-at-home mom, and she got even busier during COVID because everyone she thought she was being an empty nester, but everyone came back. So it wasn't quite as empty as she thought. And she understood that she was in phase 1, remember that death and rebirth. And she was able to move to phase 2, where she could do some dreaming and scheming on her career choices. So when we met, she came to me as a former marketing person, as well as an actress. And she had a variety of interests, including health coaching and many other ideas. So exploring her career options was only a small part of her life. And what we noticed was, even though that was really important to her, her turning point was really accepting where she was in her life and the people in her life, and moving towards more accepting herself, her desires, as well as honoring herself and her own boundaries, so that she could really make the changes she needed in her life. And a big part of that was connecting with her highest self, really appreciating her sense of self-worth. And because of that, she developed a really strong foundation to powerfully embody what we like to call her best TV star self. So it wasn't just about being her highest self. This is also embodying, okay, this is who I want to be. So she started envisioning roles she desired and practice what I call energy management, and not letting other people's definition of success or what mattered to them take over. She got connected to herself. So ultimately, she went from honing her craft in acting classes. She decided that's where she wanted to land, to being an extra occasionally on some different TV shows, and then ultimately working on full weeks of TV shows, such as And Just Like That, the Sarah Jessica Parker show, plus her favorite show, Succession. So she continues to pursue her dreams and experiences, and it's just really fun to witness that it came from this place of connecting with this side of her that knows there's so much more possible for her. So hopefully that is inspiring, and you can see you can get some of these results for yourself. But yeah, I just hope you enjoyed shifting our focus to possibilities and connecting with your empowered self, and how we can use your imagination to unlock your potential and envision, this future, reinforcing a path for what I like to call that heart-driven achievements. And that is because you're aligned with your true self, not the shoulds and the have-tos. So I was just going to share what we'll be moving forward to next for tomorrow. But any questions or anything you want to share before we do that?
Rosie, I just like to share. First off, I thought that was awesome. I mean, I've been in a few like meditations before, but nothing like that. I know Shelvana said she's done that before, and that was fantastic. So thank you. And I don't know. I'm taking so much away from this. It's great. So
Oh, good.
I'm not sure what to call myself yet. So
I know, brainstorm. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll come to
Yeah.
you. That's what's so cool. I love it. Thanks for sharing, Mike.
No, thank you.
Anyone else? All right. So for tomorrow, we'll uncover your values so you can live out your truth. So it's one thing to know all of this, right? We want to support you in understanding what is so important to you, because it's those hidden motivations that drive our lives the most. And once you uncover them, they can serve as guideposts for making decisions. And that's what really helps you get to this place of experiencing your most fulfilling achievements, right? Not just achievements you want to have, but the ones that feel so good. And it's about making authentic choices that really resonate deeply with who you are. So I know we're sharing a lot. As a reminder, I invite you to set up a call if you want some support in connecting these dots, so that you can create that path that's right for you and that feels good for you. So I'll put a link in the recap email again for you tonight. And that is it for today. Good to see you all. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, and have a good night.
Thanks, Rosie.
Bye.